In the great story of human civilization, there are empires, and then there is ancient Egypt. Its shadow stretches across more than 3,000 years, a civilization that stood against the relentless tides of time. We all know the images, right? The pyramids, the golden masks of pharaohs, but the real story, the secret to how they lasted so long, well, that's something else entirely.
So that's the big question we're tackling. How on earth does a civilization not just hang on, but truly dominate for 30 centuries? It's a question that gets to the very heart of power and endurance. And the answer, maybe surprisingly, doesn't start in a palace or on a battlefield. It starts with the land itself. You see, the story of Egypt doesn't kick off with some great king or a legendary battle. Nope, it begins with geography. It begins with a single life-giving artery pumping through the heart of an otherwise impossible desert.
And that is not an exaggeration. The Nile River wasn't just important to Egypt. The Nile was Egypt. Every year, its flood would leave behind this layer of rich black silt, creating this thin green ribbon of incredible fertility. Take away the Nile, and there's no Egypt. It really is that simple.
And just take a look at this timeline for a second. The sheer scale is almost impossible to wrap your head around. From its unification all the way to its conquest by Rome, we're talking about a civilization that lasted longer than the entire time period from the fall of the Roman Empire to today. Think about that. To the ancient Greeks and Romans, Egypt was already ancient.
Now, what's so fascinating is how the river itself basically forced the Egyptian state into existence. To manage the Nile's floods, you needed massive irrigation projects, canals, and a ton of organization. You needed one central power to run the whole show. This is a perfect example of what we call resource geopolitics. If you control the water, you controlled life itself. And that fact gave birth to one of the very first and most powerful centralized governments in history. So, with the state's foundation built firmly on the banks of the river, Egypt needed a figure at the very top of the pyramid. And this wasn't going to be just some king or warlord. No, it was going to be something much, much more powerful.
The pharaoh was seen as the literal bridge between the gods and mankind. And this wasn't just some smart political spin, it was the absolute core of their entire worldview. This divine status gave the pharaoh an incredible, unquestionable authority that held the whole society together. You didn't just obey your ruler, you were obeying your god.
The pharaoh's power was total, touching every single part of life. But this wasn't just about control. It was about maintaining cosmic order, or ma'at. By putting all authority, from religion to law to the economy, into one divine figure, the state built this incredibly stable foundation. It projected an image of unshakable power, both to its own people and to any rivals looking in from the outside. But here's the twist in the story. 3,000 years is too long to rest on the shoulders of any one person, even a god king. The real secret to Egypt's long life was something working quietly, tirelessly, completely behind the scenes. And this right here is the key. Behind the golden throne of the pharaoh was this huge, well-oiled machine of scribes, officials, and administrators. This bureaucracy was the true engine of the Egyptian state. It was a system so strong, so robust, that it could survive weak pharaohs, civil wars, and even foreign invasions. I mean, this machine was the kingdom's lifeblood. It was a system that collected the grain to feed millions, that enforced the laws to keep the peace, that organized the armies of workers to raise pyramids to the heavens, and that made sure the real army had what it needed to guard the borders. The secret weapon here was consistency. Generation after generation of scribes, all trained in the same way, kept the machine running, creating a continuity of power that could outlast any single ruler. Okay, so we've got a stable state on the inside, built on the river, led by a god, and run by an incredible machine. But internal stability is only half the battle. To really thrive, Egypt had to project its power outward, with a fist made of bronze. This really shows you the two faces of Egyptian power. While that bureaucracy was keeping everything in order back home, a seriously formidable army was pushing its influence far beyond its borders. And this wasn't just about playing defense, it was pure ambition. It was about grabbing the resources and locking down the trade routes that the whole empire ran on.
The New Kingdom, especially, was Egypt's age of empire. Pharaohs like the great Ramses II weren't just builders, they were conquerors.
The legendary Egyptian chariots pushed deep into what's now Sudan, all for its gold. And they marched into the Middle East to clash with other superpowers, like the Hittites. Egypt became a geopolitical heavyweight you did not want to mess with.
But power isn't just about who has the biggest army. Egypt's most enduring influence, the thing that really made its legacy last, might have been its soft power, that irresistible pull of its wealth, its culture, and its ideas.
To put it plainly, Egypt was rich. Unbelievably rich. Its gold was legendary. Its grain fed much of the ancient Mediterranean. Its art and fine goods were coveted everywhere. This immense wealth made Egypt a central hub for all of ancient trade, letting it spread its influence not with swords, but with ships piled high with treasure. And along with all those goods came ideas. Across the ancient world, other nations looked at Egypt with a kind of awe. They copied its art styles, they mimicked its incredible architecture, and some even started adopting its gods. This cultural gravity was a unique kind of power, creating a sphere of influence that lasted for centuries. So, 3,000 years, an empire that seemed eternal. Its story isn't just some dusty relic of the past. It offers these profound, timeless lessons on power, on resilience, and on the art of building something that's meant to last.
At the end of the day, Egypt's endurance wasn't some historical accident. It was the result of a powerful, proven formula. A strong central state born from the demands of the river, the strategic mastery of that one vital resource, the projection of both a bronze fist and a golden soul, and an administrative engine that just kept humming along, providing stability through any storm.
And that leaves us with one final thought to ponder. When we look at the world today, at great nations managing critical resources, projecting their culture across the globe, and relying on vast, complex bureaucracies, you can't help but see the echoes of the Nile. The eternal empire may be gone, but its secrets of power, they are very much alive.
At Geotectonics, our mission is to uncover these profound tectonic shifts, offering clarity in a world of complexity. If this analysis deepened your understanding, please like this video to support our work, share it with others who seek real insight, and subscribe to Geotectonics to ensure you never miss our next deep dive. We'll continue to explore the crucial geopolitical movements that define our time. Thank you for joining us.